Hello and welcome to this very special New Year's Eve edition of Food Rebels. Happy New Year. I hope you're having fun wherever you are. This episode is a little different. Instead of one conversation, we're going to have many. I've invited some of the brilliant voices from across the food and drink world, many friends of mine, to reflect on the year that we're leaving behind. I want to know really for them what stood out in 2025. What were the products that really they couldn't stop talking about and what surprised them? And I've asked them all to nominate a food rebel, somebody who they think has really changed things for the better. There's going to be a few short reflections, and I've also asked them all to make some predictions for 2026. I want to know what kind of things we can expect this year on our plates and in restaurants. We have actually got a really exciting guest coming in next week on Wednesday the 6th of January called Charles Banks, who is from the Food People. His job is literally predicting the future of food. So it'll be really interesting to hear from him next week. But right now, I've just asked a number of different friends to come on and tell us a little bit about what they think is coming up. Hi, I'm AJ Sharp. I'm the host of Food Rebels podcast and radio show and the founder of Sharp Relations, which is a marketing and PR agency. We work with food, drink and hospitality brands who want to do things properly.
Hi, I'm Laurie Fermor. I'm the co-founder of Freddy's Farm. I'm also Freddy's mum. So we're a little family business based on our farm in Kent, where we grow British fruit and veg and turn them into delicious snacks for children using our own patented method. So it's not ultra-processed and all packed into paper packets. So it's great for the environment as well.
Hi, my name's Mitch and I'm the Senior National Account Manager looking after all things sales at PACT. Now at PACT, we're on a mission to help people eat well effortlessly, and we do that through our incredible organic frozen produce, fruits, vegetables, smoothies, all served in recyclable paper packaging. You can find them in Ocado, Tesco, Sainsbury's and all sorts of places.
Hi, I am Tessa Stuart. I'm both an author of these books, which are our bestsellers on Amazon, and I am a shopper stalker. Yes, I spend my working life in supermarkets, watching how people shop and going up to them and asking them about their purchases. I do this for food and drink brands, ranging from Unilever to Root Health to Wild Farmed to Bold Bean. Many challenger food brands who are up against the big boys, and I work with them to get their products noticed and bought off the shelf. I might be testing products on shoppers. I might be looking at underperforming products that aren't hitting the rate of sale required by the supermarkets. And it's very varied, and I work with founders and I love it.
Hello there, I'm Stephen Minall. I've been in the food business 100 years or more, it seems. I have two companies, Moving Food, and I represent by 55 Amanda, which is a Scandinavian company dealing in seafood. Well, my biggest highlights for 2025, I think we're helping Amanda develop their products from cod roe to salmon to a wonderful lobster bisque and a unique ambient lobster roll, perfect for food service and perfect for consumers and sustainable. I think those subject matters that the consumer is interested in terms of sustainability, where your food is sourced from, will become a bigger issue over the next decade or so.
Hi, I'm Thuy Hoang, a Vietnamese chef, and my food is rooted in Vietnamese food culture. Food that's all about balance, flavour, freshness and sharing.
My biggest foodie highlight of 2025, I would say, has been watching people really reconnect with real food. There's more cooking from scratch at home. I think there's a lot more interest in where ingredients come from and a real shift towards simpler, cleaner labels. And something I really love is the rise of the sort of low tox movement on Instagram. Parents are super busy and yeah, we want to make everything from scratch, but they have been sharing really easy, realistic, non-UPF swaps in supermarkets, so it still fits in with busy family life. And I think it's really amazing to see how empowered people feel making these small changes that genuinely add up. And we're seeing our products crop up there, which is absolutely incredible to see families choose snacks made from whole fruit and veg rather than the ultra-processed options that are all over supermarket shelves. So I think it really does feel like the tide is turning.
Personally, I'm such a huge foodie. I love the food and drink community. I run my own podcast called The Unfounders, where I speak to brilliant employees working in these sorts of brands up and down the country. And it's been fascinating to learn about what's been happening in our industry this year. And for me, 2025 has been completely about the year of frozen. You can see the growth, the data backs it. People are finally understanding that frozen doesn't have to mean lower quality. It often means better quality, more nutritious. And it's great to see, whether that's pizzas, whether that is premium snacking, all sorts of areas across the store. It's suddenly seen as an area people want to shop. Places like Ocado have been championing this for a long time. But for me personally, I think it's just great that people finally are waking up to the fact that actually going and having a freezer stocked full of good food means snacking, meal prepping, all these things are so much easier when you have the produce on hand with a good shelf life. It's a brilliant way to tackle food waste. It's a brilliant way to tackle emissions. And it's something I am super, super passionate about. So it's great to see that that has been echoed across the industry this year.
For me, the biggest food trend of 2025 has been a return to comfort food. People wanted something that felt familiar, especially in times of uncertainty. This resonated with me as Vietnamese cuisine has always been about simple dishes, made beautiful, using fresh herbs, broths that are balanced. Another trend that I love was a shift to plant-led eating, where vegetable, beans and mushrooms are the star of the show.
The most surprising thing about food and drink in 2025 was how quickly the anti-UPF conversation landed. It came in so fast and so loudly. I think it will level out, but I've been absolutely amazed at the different people who've explained UPF to me, maybe not knowing what I do as a job. And it's not just early adopters and it's not first movers. This is widespread understanding that we can't carry on eating junk food in the way we are. However, I am also very aware, working in the industry, that world hunger isn't going to be solved by everybody scratch cooking, nor is it practical for all foods to be not processed at all. We can't walk around carrying raw natural ingredients everywhere with us. Well, maybe we would, but it isn't practical. The outrage, though, that big food is feeding the most vulnerable people in the world, food that is not even food, it's nutritionally devoid, is really valid and does need addressing. And on that point, I hope we carry on.
And my foodie highlight of 2025 has been that consumers are finally waking up to UPFs. They're starting to question what's in their food. They're looking at ingredients lists and they are returning to the basics that our grandparents knew. So they are cooking from scratch more, they're going back to beans, they're buying meat, fish and eggs as natural sources of protein, loads and loads of vegetables, and it couldn't have happened soon enough as far as I'm concerned.
The most surprising thing for me this year has been how quickly the conversation around UPF has landed with everyday families. Even a year ago, it felt quite niche, and I think parents are now talking about emulsifiers at the school gates. The confidence people have gained in reading labels and asking questions has been brilliant and really inspiring to see. It feels like people have suddenly got the language they need to describe what they instinctively knew all along, and that real food just feels better.
One of my favourite products that I discovered in 2025 is probably something like Oatly's ready-to-drink coffees, just because they come in an innovative cardboard coffee can. Now, I did a post about this on LinkedIn and it blew up. I just think they're absolutely fascinating. Oatly is known for their great oat milk, and I think the fact that, like Fever Tree did with the tonic, where actually if you're making a latte or a flat white, the majority of your latte or flat white is actually milk, it's not coffee. Having the right oat milk doing that makes absolute sense to launch that as their own product. And they're absolutely delicious. I love the can, the fact that it's fully recyclable. It's just a very cool concept. The macchiato, it's caramel, it's that sweetness. That seems to be what the market love. For me, the flat white was pretty spot on. A little bit sweet, but it's just that perfect little afternoon or morning pick-me-up. And I think it's going to do really, really well in 2026.
The biggest foodie highlight of 2025 for me has been awareness of how significant gut microbiome is to our general health and to our mental health. The increase in fibre foods, along with wide availability of fermented foods, which really support your gut microbiome, has been absolutely brilliant and such a great highlight for me. Alongside that, mushrooms. Oh my God, I love mushrooms. What is it with mushrooms? I'm a lifelong tree lover, tree hugger, really. And learning about the mycelium networks and how they connect in forests and the soil and the ecosystems, all kind of messages whispering through these mycelium networks, is just utterly fascinating and phenomenal.
My favourite product of 2025 has to be to Fermor's wild garlic and mushroom crisps. They are my go-to crisps without a shadow of a doubt. The flavour is incredible. It's really savoury and sort of earthy in the best way. And they're made by really incredible farmers who care about the land. They use British potatoes. The packaging is compostable and the flavours you just don't see anywhere else. And without fail, whenever I put them out when we have guests, people are completely blown away and straight away go and buy them.
My most surprising thing I saw in 2025 from judging events and attending trade shows was the massive growth in understanding the importance of our gut. And I see the trend continuing in that. In fact, the next gym membership won't be that at all. It'll be taking care of your microbes and building your microbes. So all things from drinks to food, the awareness both in consumers and the buyers is around what's good for the gut is good for the mind.
My favourite new product in 2025 has to be bold bean. Honestly, they have changed our lives at home and how we eat. We eat beans probably twice, maybe 3 times a week, and that's without their bold bean baked beans, which we're also quite partial to. But these are the best quality beans you'll find. And they have 2 fantastic cookbooks, which are just full of super easy recipes. So now I have these in my larder. I'm never at a loss for something to cook. I have them there and I know that I just have a brilliant, super quick resource for cooking at the end of a busy day.
My favourite new product that I discovered in 2025 was Chili Crunch from Wolf's Kitchen. And yes, it has got mushrooms in. It has like a porcini mushroom. So you get this like really incredible umami depth to it. I've just loved it. It just transforms my weekend eggs. And I use it every weekend. And now when I have scrambled egg without it, it feels sad and boring. It's warm and it's just, the complexity is just lovely. Actually making my mouth water even thinking about it. The other of my favourite products, but I didn't discover it in 2025, but I did become obsessed with it in 2025. Docker sourdough bread. I'm sorry, how middle class and annoying is that? But it is, that is absolutely true. With the chili crunch on top of the eggs.
The most surprising thing about food and drink in 2025 and 2024, in fact, has been the cost of living crisis and the extent to which so many prices of everyday goods have been pushed upwards. I don't think that's going to go away. I think we're going to go on seeing global shocks. We're going to go on seeing climate change disrupting harvests around the world and reducing yields. We're going to see drought being a problem. We're going to see increased rainfall in the UK. And it's really going to, I think, affect supply chains into supermarkets. And I would like to see a return to supporting English farmers and not necessarily demanding things from all over the world at all times. Because if you look into Tesco's supply chain and where your fruit and veg come from in the winter, it is staggering where it is coming from. So I think a little bit more robustness and maybe just thinking about seasonality would be a great thing in terms of let's eat English cabbages because they're grown here. Let's eat Swedes because they're grown here. Let's eat the things that we grow ourselves more. And I think if every consumer thought, let's just put one more English sourced product into my basket on every shop, we could be supporting English farmers, and God knows they need it.
For me, my Food Rebel nomination has to go to Lauren O'Donnell at Otsu. I've known Lauren for many years and she has been building this business in the background for so long now. It's great that she's really starting to take off, winning listings like Ocado, having an advert on Channel 4. She works so hard. She is always at events. She is always turning up with passion, with joy. And I think she's just an absolute wonder to be around. So keep an eye out for her. If you haven't tried her oats, go on Ocado, buy some, go and support her. She's absolutely fantastic, and I think she's going to have an even bigger 2026.
My Food Rebel nomination for 2025 goes to Louisa's Honey. In a world of over-processed sweetness, champions something simple, true, and honest. These honeys are truly special.
My Food Rebel nomination has to go to Barney Mauleverer because he is brilliant. I first met him back in his Fuel 10K days when I was co-host of the Food Talk show. And he was so interesting then, talking about protein and all the different things. Since then, he sold Fuel 10K and gone on to deep dive into the future of food, even setting up an event called The Future of Food, which celebrates brands that are really trying to improve the current and future food problems. And I was so pleased to be able to go this year. And it was just so brilliant. It was funny, it was goofy, it was full of kindness. And I just felt like as he was doing his talk up on the stage, that he really does care about the depth of the ice caps, because only someone that really was that bothered about the fluctuation in the depth of the ice caps would actually go all the way to Antarctica to meet the people who measure the fluctuations, to understand the real impact and implication of what we mean when we say that they're reducing. Like he went and did that. He trekked across goodness knows how many miles of ice just to go and really genuinely understand this subject. And I just thought that level of curiosity, that commitment to the cause, feels very rebellious to me. So that is why Barney is my Food Rebel nomination.
My Food Rebels nomination actually goes to Bold Bean for their Carlin peas, championing British-grown Carlin peas. Now, I haven't got a jar to show you because I have just eaten them and they were absolutely delicious. But they were, in times gone by, a Lancastrian delicacy and eaten on bonfire night with vinegar and butter in a little twist of paper. And Carlin peas they're just delicious little things. And we grow them here. And I would like to see more people getting excited about Carlin peas.
My Food Rebel nomination for 2025 has to go to Barney Mauleverer. So he is the founder of Future of Food, which is essentially a movement bringing people together, bringing brilliant value-led food brands who genuinely want to make things better for families, for farmers, for the planet, for everything. What I really love about Barney is that in a world where, honestly, when you read the newspapers, the food landscape can sometimes feel a little bit bleak and a little bit overwhelming, he's managed to unite people and shine a light on what's working. He doesn't just challenge the status quo, he shows what's possible. He helps small, honest brands feel seen, and he's built this sense of optimism around the future of food. He is a proper rebel. He's not noisy for the sake of it, but someone who leads by example and shows that there genuinely is a brighter path ahead.
In 2026, I think we're going to see bolder flavour foods combined with better quality ingredients. I'm also excited to see food that reflects culture, family, and memory.
In 2026, I predict we're going to see food portions getting smaller, much more nutritious, higher fibre. I think this is fairly well talked about now in the industry. This is the effect of GLP-1s, which are the weight loss jabs. It's the effect of actually not just people who are on weight loss jabs, though. I think there's a lot of people out there who feel that portion sizes are insane and food needs to be much more nutritious. So I think that's going to be a huge movement. I think with the effect of the kind of ultra-processed awareness going on, I think we're also going to see a bit of a return to intuitive eating. I think your food choices aren't actually about perfection all the time. I think it's about people trusting their instincts, noticing how food actually makes them feel. And building on this point, most people will find that whether or not they're a meat eater, eating more vegetables, generally speaking, makes most people feel a lot better. They are cost effective and generally good for everybody out there, unless they have a specific dietary reason why not. It's win-win, right? And for me, although it might be kind of wishful thinking. I think the future is full of green umami. I think it's full of looking at ways to make beautiful vegetables and things like that just taste better. Green umami, I learned about green umami when I was in Copenhagen this year on that study tour, which I did a show all about. And it's all about complexity and depth of flavour. And the way to get that into vegetables is usually to ferment it, miso, things like that, which adds a completely different level of complexity. It means the flavours hit your palate in different layers rather than it being one-dimensional. It's got several dimensions to it, which gives you a feeling of it being far more satiating, far more satisfying for you. I think that's going to be a huge thing. I think we're going to see more and more of that as the rise in fibre, the rise in the need for highly nutritious foods rises. And from the drinks front, I know I'm looking for more pleasurable, non-alcoholic alternatives. And I can't be the only one that wants a bit of a gentle buzz from my drinks without all the negative effects of alcohol on the body. So I'm really hoping, again, is it wishful thinking? I'm really hoping we're going to see more and more non-alcoholic, but with a buzz alternatives coming through. I'm most looking forward to cooking more. I know for me, scratch cooking is definitely something I'm trying to find more space for. Not only is it better for me, better for my family, it's actually a way to be more mindful in a day. And I'm sitting there going, I haven't got time to be mindful. And I'm sort of bashing things out the way to try and get to my yoga class so I can be calm, realizing that actually maybe there are ways to be calm in the day-to-day reality of normal life. And it's just about the way that we look at the job that we have to do as to whether or not that's going to be as stressful as it is. Anyway, so I'm most looking forward to cooking a lot more, attempting to be more organised with my food, and more really brilliant sourdough bread and better butter, and generally food that tastes delicious and makes you feel good after you've eaten it.
I also think going into 2026 that we are going to be eating a lot more high fiber, high protein, all these things where calorie and nutrition density is so important.
So in 2026, what do I see onwards? Certainly the growth in non-alcoholic drinks, low alcoholic drinks, ready-to-mix drinks is apparent. Seems to be protein and fiber is our new word. And you're going to see that appearing in a lot more things, I think. So I'm still excited after all these years in the business, judging various awards, and wishing you well.
Alcohol-free has had another big rise. You've got brands like Bativo, Mother Root, great alcohol-free spirits and beers like Mash Gang. There's so many people in the space who are suddenly taking things that have always been seen as not quite as good as alcohol and really owning it, and I think they are doing fantastic things in that space. I think what all the aunties are doing in paneer is absolutely brilliant. They brought an incredible brand and branding to the paneer market, which is predominantly own label or just not given the appreciation it deserves. Cottage cheese seems to be having a huge moment this year, and I think that's just going to continue going into 2026. If you look at things like the Waitrose Food and Drink Report, you'll see snacking is getting premiumized because these better for you options are often more expensive. Frozen, you're getting things like Wagyu burgers going on. You've got fat being championed, actually people looking at the best quality fats, whether that's olive oil, avocado oil, macadamia oil. And then going into 2026, things like the global flavors, whether that's Korean, Asian, Mexican, people want that fantastic, natural, authentic flavor coming into their kitchen, whether that is in the forms of pastes, meals, sauces, condiments, whatever it is. I think there's a big space that can continue to grow there. Organic is a huge part of that. With organic produce having more nutrition, it's even better for you. I think we're going to see that area grow as it has done this year, outpacing non-organic 4-1. But I think with the rise in these drugs like Ozempic and GLP-1, it's changing consumer behaviours where they're buying less snacking, less pizza, less unhealthy foods because they're not as hungry. So actually what they are buying needs to be more nutrient dense. And I think that is going to really change the economy and the way that brands and consumers look at food. So I think that's a very fascinating area to look at. But it's been a very exciting year. If you're not shopping on these challenger brands, make sure you do always check out your local farm shops, delis, and the new sections on places like Ocado where they're always doing great stuff for challenger brands. It's been a brilliant year and I'm excited for 2026. Thank you.
In 2026, I think we are going to see even more people turning towards foods that feel familiar but are made more simply. So fewer ingredients, hopefully more British grown produce, and a real return to basics and classics. I think natural sweeteners from fruit will start replacing a lot of refined sugar in kids' products. And drink-wise, I think low sugar functional drinks that actually taste good are going to become the new normal. People want things that work for their bodies but still fit into everyday life and that are fun. I am most excited about seeing children getting closer to food again, whether that's growing something, understanding where it comes from, or just being part of the story. And I think treating them like grown-ups. There is a magic in those little moments of connection. And I think 2026 is going to be a year where the food world feels a little more grounded, a little more honest, and hopefully a lot more joyful and optimistic.
In 2026, I predict that we're going to be eating and drinking more functional foods. So that's going to be more fermented foods. It's going to be things that have an added benefit for us. I also think the jury is out on things like GLP-1, so the weight loss drugs. The predictions are that it's going to radically change supermarkets' trading ability by reducing the amount that consumers want to eat and drink and concentrating it into more protein-rich, satiating products which are in much, much smaller formats. And I think it'll be really interesting to see if that comes to pass with the next generation of weight loss drugs, which you can take as pills and not as injections, and whether that will become much more widespread and really start to hit the supermarkets business is something that I'm personally very interested to see.
Thank you so much, AJ and Food Rebels, for having me. Bless New Year, everyone.
Thanks so much for listening to Food Rebels. I hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did. So you don't miss out on more brilliant brand recommendations, insider tips and inspiring interviews, please make sure you're subscribed to Food Rebels and drop a comment below. These simple actions, like subscribing or commenting, take just a few seconds, but they mean the world to us. And it doesn't just help Food Rebels, it really helps to support the food brands and personalities we have on the show who are all trying to raise awareness. And if you know any brilliant brands or food founders or chefs or campaigners who have a really great story to tell, then do let us know. You can get in touch with us either via our website or you can reach out on social media. Our handle is @food_rebels_. And we love hearing from you. Thanks so much for listening.